Hi, everyone. Welcome to this Fireside chat where we'll talk about accounting and financial data lake for crypto and everything in between. Together with me, I have Tal, who is the CEO and co-founder of Trust Finance. Tal, excited to speak with you today. How are you doing?
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having me.
All right, to kick things off, why don't you give us a brief introduction of yourself, your company, what are the specific challenges that you're looking to address when you started Tress?
Sure. We started Tress at the beginning of last year. Elon, my co-founder, and myself, we know each other from the army. Before that, I was in venture capital. And that's when I was exposed to the world of blockchain, crypto, and Web3. And we've seen many of our companies engage in different transactions and activities in the blockchain space. And then when we used to ask for reporting or understanding what is actually happening inside their financial parameter, it was always a challenge. They always used to go back to us with like partial data, it wasn't exactly correct. And we noticed that it is actually super common to have companies manage all their financials when it comes to digital assets on spreadsheets manually. And we saw it was a really, really big pain. So when we started analyzing the problem, we understood that there are a bunch of different tax and accounting applications out there, but they are lacking. And the biggest gap was around data. Okay, so if I'm using one of the solutions and I'm managing 60, 70% in the best case, I would say, scenario of my assets and info through that system, I still had a really big portion of data that is managed on spreadsheets manually, and that kind of lose the point, you know? So what we set out to build was what we're already good at, which is infrastructure and data. And on the back end, we built the first Web3 financial data lake. Okay, so essentially we can connect to any layer one, layer two, CeFi, exchange, custodian, you name it, bring in the data into our proprietary database, index the data, enrich it, and then present it back to the user through our UI or through GraphQL API. And because it's a financial data lake, the use cases and applications are for accounting, audit, and reporting. And we are seeing more and more new applications and new use cases being built on top of the data. And we are also enriching our UI in order to support those.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. I think we'll get into a lot more of this. I'll just do a quick introduction myself. So I'm Morten. I look after Treasury and investments for Nansen. Nansen's the leading blockchain analytics company that investors can use to track what the smart money is doing on chain. And we have over 250 million labeled addresses now. So that brings us to a cover of 95% of all on-chain volume. And you can access our data and labels on our platform or through our Nansen query. We also have a research portal and a free portfolio tracker that covers over 45 different chains. So please do check that out on portfolio.nansen.ai. But yeah, moving on to crypto accounting and let's say Web3 treasury tooling landscape, which is kind of where we're at today. My sense is it's becoming more competitive, but also more sophisticated, right? We're a couple of years in where this is really a space where people have demands and requirements. There's a few other players there. But what is it that Trust Finance is carving out as its niche, and what are you standing out from your competitors on?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's a good point. If you look at the current landscape, you're seeing many tools claiming that they are doing all kinds of financial management for digital assets. The thing is that the barrier to enter the market is pretty low, right? Because if you use any kind of index, even just using Etherscan or some kind of third-party API to support kind of Ethereum and a few more chains for financial accounting, building a UI that will help you label transactions, add comments, and maybe filter a bit. It's pretty easy, okay? So you can gain initial traction. but that will only serve a very, very small and not that sophisticated portion of the market. Usually smaller companies that won't be willing to pay too much money, and that's the cap, okay? That's where things start and that's where things end. So I'm putting like 90% of the companies that we see in the space in that category. Okay, no offense, but that's where they are. They might be developing and becoming larger, but that's where most of the market is. Then you have the companies that were in the market 3 or 4 years before us. And that's also a really interesting scope of things, because if you think about it, when they started the business, you had mainly Ethereum, Bitcoin, maybe 2-3 more networks. It was pretty easy to manage in terms of data. And then they went out and built very accounting heavy applications, okay? The problem is the infrastructure. And that's where we find ourselves in kind of a sweet spot where we weren't too late to the party, but then also we don't start now when it's too crowded. So we're able to establish ourselves in a really interesting position in the market where we're giving robust accounting, audit, reporting, and much more features. But at the same time, the infrastructure under the hood enables us to give you 100% coverage of all your assets, okay? We have such an aggressive SLA that we offer new customers that within 30 days, we can give them 100% coverage of all their data, okay? No need to use anything else, only us, okay? And I don't think any other platform today is able to offer that. So that's the one side. The second part is around DeFi, okay? We grew up, or the company kind of started evolving when DeFi became huge. And we saw native staking, we saw liquidity pools, we saw the rise of different decentralized applications, and we understand how to analyze and classify the data there, for the accounting side, not even also when you need to collaborate with those third-party admins or accountants or auditors. How do you explain exactly what is happening inside the transaction? How do you visualize the position? All of that is being built inside our platform. So besides giving you only accounting features, we give you a one-stop shop, an HQ, okay, a one source of truth to manage every single financial aspect of your business.
And I mean, it's pretty exciting stuff. And then is it fair to say that your data lake is kind of the core and the moat here, that you built up this unique data lake? Is that fair? Or
that is for sure our competitive advantage. That is where we are investing the most. If you look at the company structure, even we are 90% engineers and product. And on the business side, it's only myself and another person at the moment, okay? So we are heavily invested in technology. That is the main driver of the business. And to build a sustainable business moving forward, that is where we will be investing. So you can think about it as like the infrastructure layer, okay? And on top of that, we built the applications. We have the accounting application, we have the audit application, we have the reporting application, DeFi revenue analysis application. Now we are spinning out another product that will help staking as a service companies, okay, use our API in order to help their customers with the reporting of what's happening with the staking rewards, etc.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so this kind of topic doesn't really come out in the spotlight as much as all the trading, all the speculation, all of that. But if you want to be serious, or let's just say a professional investor, a professional business project, or DAO, or we mentioned a few here already. Let's have those in mind and think about, or talk about rather, your go-to market partnerships and sort of collaborations. You kind of started on this now. So how do you help your clients, and who are the ones that are really benefiting from your services?
Sure. I would say, I mean, the whole topic of this discussion is around institutional adoption, right? And I think that one of the major issues today is that it's starting to change, right? But the perception many times of like Web3 and crypto is a bit scamish, okay? And when you think about someone sitting on the board level and saying, I think that we can actually use crypto and stable coins, for example, as a payment method, okay, to increase or to scale our business, or using NFTs for different business use cases. Also, the first one to kind of hit the table and say, this is not moving forward, is the CFO. Okay, he's super worried about that part. He's saying, how can I account for what's happening on the blockchain? How can I make sure that this is actually real? How can I make sure that I can keep track and maintain the business in terms of regulations and compliance, as I've been doing with Web2 and fiat assets, okay? And that's where we want to come in and bridge that gap and say, all good. We are here to help you manage all parts of that business, okay? All the financial parts of the business, as you used to do with your Web2 and fiat assets, okay? We will give you the visibility. We will give you the confidence. We will give you the reporting capabilities and the tracking and the reconciliation of what is happening, so you can feel more comfortable moving into that space, and by that, increasing adoption, okay? So I'll just give you an example. We are now in partnership with a pretty well-known, I would say, wallet self-custody solution, okay? And the one of the biggest pains that their customers have encountered, and when I say customers, you can think about, I would say, major funds and financial players, okay? And they are saying, okay, I'm managing millions, tens of millions, even billions of dollars in crypto through your platform. Now the big four are reaching out to me. We need to go through audit. Can you help me with the report in order to go through audit? And the answer is, at the moment, that is not our core value proposition, okay? We are partnering with Tress. Go talk to Tress Finance. And they reach out to us, and you can see that they are struggling, okay? They have like 2-3 weeks to get their, I would say, the data together and operations together. And we are able to support them with snapshot data, with historical data, with ledger, with reconciliation. And I can have testimonials of some of these CFOs saying, thank you that you exist, because we were able to go through the audit last week or 2 weeks ago using your data without knowing us before. Okay, the onboarding took about 24 hours, and within 2 weeks, they were able to go through audit based on our data. So I think that like kind of sheds the light on the value proposition and how we are helping our customers and the industry in general increase and scale the adoption of digital assets.
Yeah, no, I think that, I mean, this is really interesting. And I think from our own perspective, two things come to mind. One is the industry is continuing to creating and innovating, arguably, if at least marginally, into more complex contracts and then derivatives of those again. And it can be really challenging for not only the front office, but even more so the back office that has to all reconcile and handle all of these things, especially here when there's no traditional type of security that's comparable or what you can value against, right? So it's really novel, and it can take a long time for someone to do it by themselves. And I think secondly, secondly, as you pointed out, my interactions as well has been treasuries, projects, and teams in this space are themselves becoming more mature about how they structure partnerships, grants, or service agreements. And they might be paid or want to pay in digital assets because they have or they want to professionalize this side of the industry, or not just the industry, but themselves too. And sort of thinking ahead with, hey, we want to be accepting crypto, but we also want to have an audit. How can we make that happen? And, it sounds like this is creating demand for your type of service, because it's really a blue sky scenario here. Not a lot of people have experience, so they need someone that do this from day one.
And I think I can even add to that. I mean, if you think about recent events, right, the FTX blow up that you saw, they were using QuickBooks or Three Arrows and all that stuff, and you can see the regulation all over the world is like starting to be a bit more, I would say, not very friendly with the market. I think it's also helping finance teams in these organizations understand that the party is almost over, and they should actually start understanding how to prepare for the day after tomorrow. And we are getting lots of inbound because of that, right? Like people are saying, hey, listen, to be honest, we've been running the business since 2019, 2020. We've kept some kind of record, but it's not really in place. Can you help us? And we have the capabilities to say, no matter at what stage you are, no matter when you start the business, no matter how of a mess your financial parameter is, we can help you because we know how to bring all this data and structure it and index it and enrich it and present it back to you and help you get to that first hurdle. Because sometimes people are like, I'm just going to swipe this under the carpet. I'm going to ignore this until someone reaches out. And then you're going to get that real notice from I don't know, some kind of governmental agency. And that's when the shit hits the fan. And that's when you should actually be worried. So try not to do that. Try to look forward and be, how can I make sure my business will be compliant as soon as possible?
Yeah, totally. And just curious here, I guess. So, yeah, you kind of moved into the regulatory landscape already here, and it's a touchy subject for many, because it's just so much unclear, and it goes across geography and types of assets and services and all of these things. But you can help on both tokens and NFTs. And just maybe to understand, like, how would you come in, or how would you like getting involved with the team on this? How is it kind of in practice?
So I would say that for CeFi, DeFi, on-chain, we really know how to operate. NFTs is a really, really problematic topic, okay? We have yet to find an API that will help us with the pricing of those kind of assets that is actually acceptable by, I would say, different governmental agencies. So at the moment, we are kind of matching it to the transaction value, so to the cost basis. And then we can also, like, if there's some kind of input from the user itself saying, actually, I need to mark this down, then we'll go and do that manually. So I think NFTs is a bit of a problematic issue. On the, I'll say, on-chain and even CeFi side, when it comes to like tokens and different positions and coins, of course, because we know how to automatically reconcile your balances to the transactions, we have the ability to kind of throw a stone back in time, and wherever it falls, that date and time, we are able to create a report that has like a 3-factor verification: running balance, reverse balance, and archive node balance, and compare those three and give you the confidence of like about 99% that this is exactly your balance. And that is super acceptable by Big Four audit firms and also accounting companies.
Okay, so it's fair to say that, we mentioned partnerships and collaborations earlier, but this is the kind of thing that people be pretty top of list, right? That you have interactions with Big Four, or at least an audit company, which they probably are looking to engage with. So is the interaction that you take a report and deliver that, or it's very customizable for them to ask you, hey, this is how we need it to look like, and etc. How's the workflow?
For sure. So just on the partnership side, I'll say we have a Trust certified partner program. We have accounting and audit companies apply, and then we certify them on the platform. And then, of course, their customers will enjoy the data and the platform itself. We also work with the Big Four through different customers. And then we have predefined formats that are acceptable that you can create self-serve through the platform. In addition, there's some kind of premium feature where you can say to us, hey, listen, this is the report in the format that some agency or one of the firms asks us for, and we can create it in a PDF depending on what you need. So I would say there's a self-serve functionality, there's a customizable functionality. It's up to the customer to understand what works best for them. And then, of course, it's a matter of pricing, like everything these days.
Absolutely. So if we look a bit forward, how are you guys thinking about I don't know, expansion or even market share, or like what are you guys going after currently?
For sure. So we want to play our strengths. Okay. So if we think about the Web3 financial data lake, as I said earlier, that is the infrastructure. And we are doubling down on everything we've done until now and adding more. Okay. So the applications are accounting. We are pushing much on audit now. It became a huge, huge, huge pain that we have lots of features that will support that. On the reporting side, we are enhancing our API. So working with many companies that want to deliver to their customer base some kind of reporting functionalities. So something that we are now enhancing and growing the distribution for. And then there are a few more applications that we are building to be announced, of course, but some really cool operational features, because we are saying if we are already on the infrastructure level and we have the data, we can give you visibility, then we are giving you some kind of intelligence on top of the data. And that's going to be also something that we're going to be enhancing a lot for like kind of inter-company analytics. And the third part is, it's pretty similar to cyber, okay? How can I act upon the data? How can I maximize my value based on the data? So that is the new kind of sphere that we are looking at. And that's where things will be going very soon. As I said, TBD.
Yeah. I mean, we've both been in this space for a while now, and I think everyone watching as well know that there's almost never a boring day in crypto, and so far
That's for sure.
it's been no exception. So if we, you just mentioned some of your plans, but if you look a bit outward, talking to people in the industry, talking to clients, like what makes you excited for, let's just say, second half of this year? What should we be watching out for when it comes to your niche, as well as anything else that you'd be excited for?
For sure. So my so the biggest thing that I'm debating and thinking about is the TAM of the market, right? Okay. How big is the digital asset space going to be in 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Okay. And I know that recent events might have caused some kind of pessimism amongst the community members. I have to say that I've been to a bunch of conferences. There's actually a conference, I think, every day. I'm getting people like, hey, are you going to this conference? Like, no, I have to actually work sometimes. So it's been a bit insane. When you go to the conferences, you can see the vibe, you can see the building, you can see the new projects coming out. Like every time I go to a conference, besides being super productive for business, it also gives me this kind of optimistic approach to how the market will look like. And if thinking about what digital assets can be, talking about tokenization of assets, so we're talking about the rise of stable coins and the mass adoption around that. I mean, you can see the whole micro payments industry for foreign exchanges. So there's so much going on. I've seen so many projects I can't really comment too much about, but I've seen really, really well-known companies interacting with these kind of projects in the space. And I think that the future is bright. And this is the exact time to invest. Leave the AI, generative content, artists, stuff like that to other people, and come and build in this ecosystem. I think there's a lot to be done here. And if you want to be part of the next financial revolution, then this is definitely going to be the space to watch. Yeah.
I love that comment. I mean, I'm curious though. I mean, it's on everyone's mind, but AI. Let's do one line on that as well. Like, could it help in your scenario? Could it help people? What are your thoughts on actual applications for us?
For sure. I think that, I mean, thinking about AI, I'll just have one comment. I don't think that in the near future, AI will replace us. And I think we have to understand how we can utilize it to be more productive rather than how we'll replace it 100%. There'll always be some kind of human in the loop when it comes to AI. So when I look at the business, I'm not thinking about, how Trust can be managed by AI. I'm thinking about how my dev team can use AI to be more productive. I'm thinking about how my ops team can be more productive using AI. I'm thinking about how my marketing team can leverage AI to generate better content, faster content, etc. So I think that is what I'm looking at, of how I can build a very successful business, maybe with less people, okay, lower headcount as I might have needed a few years ago, and by that making the margins better and making the whole operation much more efficient. So that's what I'm looking at. Of course, there are different parts of code you can add into the system and that can help you, but I don't think it will replace our software or any software out there at the moment. It will always be a human in the loop, and I think it's going to be more about productivity and efficiency.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I would just echo that. And if you yourself, your company, product, your investments are not at least thinking about or having a plan with AI, you got to tell them to start now. And
100%.
And blockchain has a place helping AI as well. I think easily with verification of authenticity, something like that. And yeah, equally, I think AI will help all of us level up products and work environment. So I think we're closing up on time. So, all of this said, I hope everyone enjoyed our discussion. Thank you so much, Tal, for sharing your thoughts with us. And like I just said, there's so much going on, and we scratched the surface, but I think there's a lot of things that we could cover as well. So I do encourage everyone to reach out to either or both of us, either on Twitter, LinkedIn, or website, or not sure where you would like people to reach out.
Yeah, so I mean, if you go to our website and you want to learn more about the product, there's a book demo button. You click on it, you choose the date and time, and guess what? The person you'll be meeting is me. So, that'll be fun. We'll go through the product together.
Awesome. Likewise for myself, if you're interested in Nansen, watching the smart money on chain, go to pro.nansen.ai or portfolio.nansen.ai to track your portfolio. Again, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone watching, and enjoy the rest of the Redefine Tomorrow program.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Morten.